Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Glad you could be here with me today. This is kind of a follow-up video on my previous video. If you didn't get a chance to see it, I'll leave a link in the description below and in the cards at the end of the video. But I did a book haul video for Kindle books, kind of a survey of the books that I picked up over the summer on my Kindle. And as you know, I read a lot of physical books. I probably tend to prefer physical books in many cases, but I do read a lot on Kindle as well, on digital format. So, and there's some reasons why I do that I go into more in that video, so I'll let you check that out when you have a chance. But today is going to be a pretty cool video, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But I wanted to give you an update on the giveaway that I had announced a few weeks back. It recently ended, and there were only 2 people that signed up for the giveaway, which was kind of surprising, but oh well, you know, it's totally cool. And I did do the randomizer to pick the name out of the 2 people that signed up, and we did come up with a winner, and her name is Megan. So Megan, if you're watching this, I probably already reached out to you, so I'm excited to talk with you more and see what book you want. So with that being said, let's get right into it. This is my review of the Kindle Paperwhite. That's right, I did recently get a Kindle Paperwhite, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about it and a little bit about why I did it. I've been reading Kindle books for a long time in various different ways. I used to read some Kindle books on an old iPad. I have an older Kindle that I used to read books on. But primarily I've been reading on my phone on the Kindle app, which is fine. The Kindle app is really good. It's user friendly. It's easy. You know, my phone is right there. But as I've gotten older, you know, my eyesight's starting to not be as good, and I have to wear glasses all the time when I'm reading anyway. And the glare probably just really isn't good on my eyes, the amount of energy that my phone puts out. So I decided maybe it's not a good idea for me to be reading books on the Kindle app on my phone. I can if I'm in a pinch and I don't have my Kindle with me, but realistically it's probably not a good idea. And so I've heard a lot of good things about the Kindle Paperwhite. I've been kind of on the fence about it, whether I really wanted to go for it. And I finally decided I'm just going to do it and check it out and see what it's like. And I really, really like it. So I'm going to go into some of the reasons why I like it. I may have a couple of things that I feel are drawbacks on it, and I'll let you know about those as well. But let's get right to it. So as you can see, this is the Kindle Paperwhite. I showed it to you before. I'm currently reading and almost finished with The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. And it's the 3rd book in the Millennium Trilogy that starts with The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Really good series, and I'll be talking more about that at some point. But you know, this is the home screen. This is kind of what it looks like, and there's some really cool things about the Kindle Paperwhite. I mean, first of all, it's super thin, right? It's very light, very compact. It's easy to toss in a bag or a hip pouch or a man purse if you have one, or a woman purse for that matter. Just really easy to toss with you and just go. And I really like that about it. You know, I can easily hold it with one hand, you know, grip both sides. Really easy to just sit and read and just really enjoy the comfort of reading it. And actually, it's kind of more comfortable than it was reading on my phone too, which is nice. Especially for the amount of glare that the screen on my phone puts out. This puts out hardly any. I mean, there is a front light on the device, which is really cool because if you're in low light situations and you still want to be reading, you can, but the light isn't as powerful and overwhelming on your eyes as maybe uh, your cell phone lighting is. So that's been really nice. I've enjoyed that. And what's really cool about it, it must have a sensor in it or something, because when I'm in areas where I have plenty of lighting, it's not even noticeable. There's not really a light that you can see. It really kind of blends in. So it kind of auto adjusts itself to the lighting in each different situation. And I don't have the front light turned on all the way. It's probably at about maybe halfway. It's probably at a 14. I think it goes up as high as 30 on brightness, and I have it at about 13 or 14, and it's perfect for any low light situations that I happen to be reading in. And the thing that I like the most is it does just what it promises in advertisements. It looks like you're reading on paper. It has a 300 dpi resolution, or at least I think that's the resolution on it, and it's really crisp and clear. The text has a good darkness and boldness to it that fits in any lighting situation. You can change the fonts on it, but I just use the standard font that came with it, Bookerly I think it's called, and that's perfectly fine for me. But it's, you can change your fonts. You can load new fonts on it, from my understanding. I think you have to plug it into your computer and download new fonts to it, but you can do that. But it's been really, really great to read on, easy on my eyes. I just love it, and after a while I don't even notice that I'm reading on an electronic device. It's just that good. Do I still prefer reading physical books? Yes, in most cases, but this is a really, really good alternative. Some other things I like, as I mentioned, the home screen. It shows you the book you're currently reading. It shows you some other suggestions, maybe some suggestions from your library, even suggestions in the same series. It's telling me there's another book in the Millennium series down here, so trying to get me to purchase it. So that's pretty nice. And then my favorite feature, let me see if I can get to my library here. My favorite feature is that I can make my library default to my collections. And this, I think, is the best part about reading on a Kindle. You can organize all your books into collections, and depending on what type of collection you have, maybe it's a particular author that you follow, that you have all of their books. So for instance, Agatha Christie is one of my favorite authors, but she doesn't just write in one series, right? She's got multiple detectives that she writes and things like that. So the collection for her is under her name, Agatha Christie, for the author. But then there's other series which, like The Witcher by Andrzej Sapkowski. Yeah. As far as I know, that's really the only major series that he writes, and probably really the only one that I'm interested in. So I have a collection that's just titled Witcher. And so it's really easy to organize books, and I just think that's fantastic. It comes stock with a few different dictionaries on it that you can use. If you're inside a book, you can hold your finger down on a word and it'll pop up with a standard dictionary entry if you're not sure what a word means. But you can load your own dictionaries on here too. If you have a different one that you particularly like to use, you can load it on here. In fact, one that's really cool for fantasy readers is this dictionary called Fictionary. And I'll leave the link in the description below to their website, but they have completely detailed and cataloged dictionaries for major fantasy series, such as the Malazan Book of the Fallen, or Song of Ice and Fire, and you can load those on there. The Malazan Book of the Fallen especially has a lot going on, and you can kind of get lost if you're not constantly checking the appendix. So I see how that can be helpful by loading the Fictionary onto the Kindle for that. So really, really nice that you can add your own dictionaries to it. You can download books from other other websites and convert them over to the Kindle format so you can read them on your Kindle. If I was to pick one drawback, I would probably say that is the fact that it's not color. And that's not a huge deal, right? But there are some newer e-readers coming out that are designed with a color e-ink screen. And that's cool. It's mostly only practical if you want to see the book covers in color. But it is a nice feature, and I would love to see Amazon come out with that, but it's not a huge deal breaker for me. I don't really like looking at the cover in black and white, but honestly, I'm only really looking at the cover for a few seconds before I dive into the book, right? So not really that big a deal, but eventually they'll probably come out with it. I have a feeling, though, that even on the color e-ink screens, the book covers aren't as vibrant as they are in real life on a physical book, or the ones you see on the internet if you look at them in full color on the internet, for the ones they release when the book comes out. So it probably wouldn't be that great anyway, that it would be that big of a deal to have a color e-ink screen. So that's one drawback if I had any. Other people have mentioned that they don't like the fact that the Paperwhite doesn't have physical buttons. I have an older Kindle and it had the physical buttons, and that was cool, turn the page with the buttons, but it's not that big a deal. In fact, I like it better this way, just tap on the screen. It almost feels like I'm turning the page like in a physical book. Because of the tactile screen, I just tap and I'm on the next page. I can even do the swiping motion if I wanted to, so I just don't get why that's such a big deal, but some people like the physical buttons, and that's cool. And if that's how you feel, great. One thing I will say too is the response time is really pretty impressive. I tap on the screen most times and it's instantaneous to turn the page. Every once in a while it takes a couple seconds, but that's very rare, and it doesn't bother me at all. So overall, I'm very, very impressed with the Kindle. It's nice too because I'm kind of a minimalist, and having a Kindle where I can have most of my major really long series on the Kindle helps me cut down on the physical space that my books take up. If I was doing all physical books, I would have an enormous amount of bookcases in my house that would just take up a bunch of space that I don't really need taken up. But with this, most of the longer series that I read, I plan to get on Kindle, and that way it takes up less space on my bookshelf. So I really, really like that. I know a lot of people get covers for their Kindles. I don't really think I will. I might at some point, but I don't feel like I need it. This seems pretty resilient. I'm not really concerned about dropping it. It's so light and thin that I can easily grip it and hang on to it. And if I'm not reading it, I'm usually going to have it somewhere where it'll be safe, like in a bag or things like that. I have not tested the water resistance, although supposedly it is water resistant up to a certain degree. And I have not tried the drop test on it, nor do I plan to. And I probably won't try the water test on it either, unless it just happens to accidentally happen that way. And I hope it survives. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have you kind of been on the fence about getting a Kindle? And if so, maybe my review has helped you. Let me know that in the comments. Do you have a Kindle, and what are some of the things you like and dislike about it? Is there anything you do dislike about it? And are, maybe you don't want a Kindle, but you've been thinking about getting a different type of e-reader. That's great. More power to you. There's a lot of good options out there as far as ebook readers. I really stick with Amazon mainly because they have the largest selection of ebooks out there. They really do. It just can't really be beat. And you can even set it up to read audiobooks on your Kindle. They kind of take up a lot of space from what I've heard. Let me know that in the comments too. If you do audiobooks on your Kindle, how's it been for you? Does it seem to work well? There's no headphone jack, so you have to use Bluetooth headphones, I'm guessing. And let me know what you think of audiobooks on the Kindle, but I haven't really gone that route. And but you can also read library books on the Kindle, so you can set it up with features like Overdrive from the National Library System and borrow books from the library right on your Kindle. So it's really pretty cool. I like a lot of those features. And this is fairly new. I've only had it a few days, but I've really been enjoying it. It's been super easy to get used to, and it has tons of options for settings that you can set up. If you're on an airplane or traveling and you want to put it on airplane mode, it's just a quick tap on the settings and you can go in there and change that. You can buy books right on the Kindle, which is really nice. I will say also one other drawback. I mentioned the collection feature, which I really love, but it does seem to be a little bit of a lengthy process to add a book to a collection. And maybe I just haven't figured out a quicker process to do it yet, but I'll be exploring to see if there's a quicker way to do that without having to go in and scroll through all your thousands of books to find the one you need to add to the collection you're in. So that's a little tedious, but worst case scenario, I can just go on the Amazon website into my account and add it to a collection really quick there. So not a big deal. Yeah, that was just a side note. Let me know what you think in the comments. I love to dialogue with you. There is going to be a link in the description below where you can go and purchase the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite if you would like to. This video is not sponsored by Amazon in any way, shape, or form, although the link to purchase the Kindle is an affiliate link. So I do get a little bit of a kickback if you purchase from my link. So please do. That would be awesome. And just to draw your attention to something else, if you haven't already seen it, I recently did a geek out with the guys over at Geek on My Sleeve about the first Dune book, and we talked a little bit about the new movie that's coming out as well, and the original movie from 1984. You can't really avoid it in a discussion like that. So I joined them for that, and I'll leave a link in the description below. And next week I will be doing a Why You Should Read video for the Millennium series by Stieg Larsson. I'm really excited to do this one for you, and I think I'll finally be finished with the series. I may even finish the last book tonight. We'll see. It might happen. I just don't know. But I will be making that my next video for you guys. So if you've heard of this series and you want to know what it's all about, make sure you check out that video. And make sure you're doing all the stuff on the screen here so that you can help support my channel. And make sure that you're not missing out on my future videos, because I do a new video every Friday. Sometimes other days during the week, but definitely on Friday, so you don't want to miss out on those. And make sure you're checking the description below as always, because I do leave ways to get in touch with me down there and other ways you can support me. So with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember to read more books or ebooks if you prefer to, and I will talk to you in my next video, guys. Have a great and awesome weekend. Bye.